there. In just a few moments, we're going to be taking a look again at a group of sports fishermen that are set out to clean up a river with a community. And it's pretty interesting to see how involved they get and why they get involved in it. And you may want to know why they get involved in it. So stick around for a few moments and we'll be showing you that momentarily. Hello, I'm Dean Romano. It's time once again for Outdoor Wild. All right, I'm standing here with Jim Zonlak and Josh
Sobchak, Vice President of Root Pike Wind.
Root Pike Wind. All right, we're here to talk about river cleanups. And Jim, this takes place here in southeast Wisconsin, Kenosha, year after year.
Yes,
okay,
since 2007.
All right, well, let's start with that first, and then we're going to go to Josh here for a minute.
Perfect. Okay, so since 2007, we have been, we organized this in 2007 because Dan Meyer, he was a kayaker and cleaned the river up 2 years in his house. We took it over because the event got bigger. So long story short, since 07, we have taken about 3 40-yard dumpsters and 350 tires out of the Pike River. Annually, 20 tires a year come out of the Pike River. Everybody throws the Pike River as a trash bin, and we're trying to maintain and keep the minimum debris, but debris is not going to be all gone, but the idea is that the trash and the tires is getting to be a little over the top, and we're trying to figure out why people can't take their cars, their trash down to the city. It's $2 a tire, they'll dispose of them, and we're fighting it. But today is a good day here, being that it's the September 25th, and I did say the date wrong, so it's September 20th. So long story short, we had a huge amount of people here. Well over 100 people showed up today. Carthage College students, a lot of good things. But long story short, we are here. We are here. So I'm going to have you pan your camera.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah, and I'll show you the map that we do, and so that you understand how many people are on the Pike River picking up trash today.
Let's do that.
All right.
Let me pan that in. All right, I'm going to do a little zoom here.
Okay, so we're in Pets Park, and Pets Park is taking care of this entire facility, but we are now going outside of the river, outside of the Pets Friend Springs Park. So we go from Lake Michigan all the way up to County KR Road. So how many miles is that? I would think Josh could answer that. Maybe I could. I don't know. I'm thinking 10 miles, maybe?
At least.
At least 10 miles.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on 10 miles worth of rivers being cleaned up today, except through the county park. So this year we've got Carthage College. We got a lot of people. Pepsi, Dr. Pepper showed up today with the beverages. Also CJW was one of our sponsors today. So the reason I did this is because Kenosha Sport Fishing and Conservation is our middle name. So we decided to take that in their account, and it's been a huge success. Year after year, people come to our area to pick up trash, and they enjoy being a part of it.
It's really good. All right, now I'll do a little more here. Josh, you are involved. Now you're out of Racine, Wisconsin. So
well, I live in Racine.
You live in Racine.
Root Pike Wind is based actually here just off the UW Parkside property. We're in the old Chancellor House for the school. And this area is very near and dear to us. So Root Pike Wind, in partnership with KFCA, got involved a number of years ago, ironically through Dan, the founder of it. Dan was on our board for a while too, and the passion, the philosophy of it is the same for us. We want to create areas that people want to live and explore. Right. And this waterway runs through some of the only virgin hardwood forests left in the state. This waterway connects into Lake Michigan and has a diverse ecology to it. Yep. And as he said, unfortunately, just the conditions of humans nowadays, there's a lot of garbage that gets dumped in, whether intentional or unintentionally. And it's our opportunity to take care of the areas that aren't covered by either public operation or private entities like the Kenosha Country Club, who also does a great job on their property.
Right.
So some of the important notes that we see in restoring the river and cleaning it it creates waterways where we get more diversity in the aquatic species.
Okay.
We actually have started to see pike back in the river. We are hoping, with a restoration that we're working on in the Lamprick Ditch, which is something we talked about earlier, to all of our volunteers. You missed the footage earlier, but there were probably 500 volunteers, 400 volunteers here getting ready to head out on the creek. But the Lamprick Ditch, we think, might be a prime opportunity to restore brook trout back into the Pike River ecosystem.
I'm going to zoom in on that while
Sure.
we're talking.
Yep. And then within the watershed of the Pike River, we're one of the few places in the state where the rusty patch bumblebee, which is a federally endangered species, has been discovered to still be in existence. And so our group has worked to do restoration on some of the prairies, some of the watersheds off of those that go into the pike, to create environments that are more suitable for their habitat, as well as, again, places we want to live and be.
Correct. Yep. You know, what I like about all of this, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, it's connected like spokes in a wheel. There has to be, we have to have this restoration in order to keep stuff for sportsmen, in order to keep stuff for our ecosystem in general, for people's survival, basically. Sportsmen, that's another thing I said I wanted to later shows. I don't know if I'm off camera, it don't matter. We had talked about the license money and all them fees that goes into land regeneration, wildlife habitat. And what people don't understand, and you brought up a good point, the rusty patch bumblebee. Pollinators, food.
Yeah.
You know, river cleanups, fish.
Brook trout. Diversity, yeah.
Yep. So, you know.
And don't get us wrong, we may be here for an environmental cleanup event, but I can assure you the two of us are heavy sport fishermen.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, we definitely have interest in this from both sides. This is a place we want to live and be, but we're also looking to invest in our future for us and, you know, and our following generations to have great sport fishing.
Absolutely, and that, well, for us, that's probably what a lot of it's about. But, you know, I mean, yeah, because the same thing. I mean, I've been fishing a few times this year, and we're enjoying the heck out of it, you know, and love it, you know, and good time. And
so another point we want to bring up is, I want Josh to bring about the Microsoft Data Center. There's a lot of talk about that, so I want Josh to show the partnership that they did at the Latrim Park. How do you say that? Lamprick Creek. Okay. So I'll have Josh go on that one.
Josh, I'm going to let you take that. If
Sure.
you with that, I'm going to zoom in, okay?
All right.
And I'm going to step out.
Yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, the Lamprick Creek is actually one of the natural water passages that feeds into the Pike River on the North Branch in Mount Pleasant. And this area historically has been farmed as agriculture, you know, for the past few hundred years. With such, the original wetlands and creek that would feed into the Pike as a tributary were ditched out. You know, drainage systems in those fields were put in place, and that caused substantial erosion into the creek, kind of creating V-Gulf valleys. You have a lot of runoff from the farms, and again, we appreciate the efforts our farmers do to feed us, but the unexpected or unanticipated byproduct is that there's a lot of phosphorus and other waste runoff from the fertilizer, excess fertilizers get into the waterway, and that kind of kills the oxygen level and the biology within the rivers. So Microsoft is coming in, building a new AI center, which has caused a lot of commentary in our community about the effects and impacts of what that could mean. They have also been an excellent steward of restoration in the area. Their plant isn't feeding any water into the watershed. They will be utilizing Lake Michigan water, but it's at a level that's with the equivalent of a couple houses, 2 to 3 houses of usage annually. Only on days, as I understand, where the water or where the air is over 85 degrees will they need a little bit of supplemental water from our system. But on the environmental side, they were thrilled to get involved with us in restoring the area of the Lamprick, which is now part of the Foxconn property, and then tails right behind the Microsoft facilities that are being built for the AI data centers. And they've helped take this channelized, very straight runoff creek that was used in the farmland and helped us re-meander it, create a lot of little eddies and pools, create the natural forms of the river where it winds through channels, and also clear up the water in terms of plant life and eco-diversity that will help bring some of those brook trout back. So as we talked about, this stretch has the greatest opportunity for us to restore the only native trout species that was in the river, the brook trout, back into the Pike River.
So with that being said, a question that I always hear, well, why can't we just run the river straight? Josh, can you explain why people think straight, 2 points is a straight line, but people, they don't understand why you have to have the levees and the ebbs and flows of the river. Why does it need to bend and curve?
Naturally, first of all, it does that. If you were to leave a waterway, and I just watched a great video on this last night. There's a group out of, what college was it? They have a simulation table that's about 100 feet long, and a base where they'll put in different soil types and sand bases, and they run a flow of water through it down the table, and it will go from that straight channel, they'll dredge a channel, and it will start to meander all on its own, and before you know it, they run the simulation, which estimates over time. The rivers naturally like to do that. They pull on the side of one, and that causes the current to swing to the other way, and they create those natural channels which dig in some deep holes in the channel side, which deep water allows it to stay cooler, it holds oxygen better, it just creates better diversity within it. And the widening of the plain, instead of being those deep channel edges or river edges, when we get runoff from a rain or runoff from city streets flowing into stormwater, which flows into these, when it's channelized, it becomes an expressway, and that water rushes down, merges in with the next portion, like in the Pike River North Branch, which then merges in with the Pike River South Branch. And before you know it, here in Petrifying Springs, at Carthage College, downriver, you end up with flash flooding events because all that water is dropping into the river system at the same time. By creating those channels, those ebbs, the wider overflow basins that hold back water, it slows down the flow of that water, which reduces flooding upstream or downstream, but also creates more saturation into the groundwater system locally where the water actually came from.
Gosh, this is really phenomenal news. I mean, it's interesting, you know. And one thing I do want to touch on too that I liked about, well, I kind of liked about it was, I know there's always issues with how we battle our environment.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, if this company can help you guys with the problems like the farmland, okay? 'Cause I mean, we know we gotta have farmers.
We gotta eat, yeah.
They do. So I mean, if we can work, and then that was one of the things that I wanted to play on a long time ago. You know, I've heard things, people freak out over fracking and all this stuff. It's like, look, we can work with this. We have to find a way to work.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom.
We understand the least expensive way.
Right.
It might be the most preferred because of its efficiency, but it has side impacts.
Right.
Doing things like in our farm world, here in Racine and Kenosha County, we have a group that's working with farmers out in our western halves of the counties, experimenting with cover crops, which substantially help reduce the amount of erosion runoff. So there's programs that we're learning that can be put into place to help with that erosion control and still keep the same needed farmland that we have. In this area, it's not, we're not demonizing the farmers because the reality is development is happening east of the interstate where we are in this part of Wisconsin.
Right.
Our agrarian society is being developed out into the more city or what would you call it, suburban type facilities, and so we have the opportunity to have those developments happen. We at Root Pike Win, the KFCA, all these groups, we're not against development. It's going to happen. It's the natural way for a growing population, but it can be done in a way that helps mitigate the risks to our system and to our families down the line.
Right. No, it's phenomenal. Jim, when we started this, it was a small thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Couple guys
I
are
remember how hard
big.
you guys worked.
So the Kenosha County, so Jim Crews or Kenosha County, Jim Crews and I approached him. So we were over on County JR Road.
Yep.
And that year we pulled out so much trash, and people just couldn't believe people thought we went to the trash to show them that we were trying to stage something that wasn't staging. So we showed them the first year, and then from there on in, it grew and grew and grew. And then Dave Giordano was not a part of Root Pike when that he got involved with the Root Pike organization and just exploded it. I mean, just let alone, I want people to understand, when a Microsoft company moves in, it's all about them. And it usually is. The big corporates will work, they have, Root Pike Win met with the CEO and the bigwigs of Microsoft and inked a deal, and they said, yeah, we want to be a part of it. They didn't just say get away from us. They said we want to be a part of it. So I'm just letting you know what Root Pike Win, how the fingers of a spike of a whale, I'm just telling you, the hub is around us, and they're constantly networking with all these big companies.
And I guess we've used the acronym Root Pike Win a lot, but we haven't really said Root Pike Win is Root Pike Watershed Initiative Network. It's all about networking.
Thank you.
The reality is Microsoft is one of just many companies who we've worked with at Root Pike Win in showing them alternatives on how things can be done. Even within the counties in the state DNR, here at the corner of Highway 31 and County KR, there's a small piece of land that's right up against the Pike River. The owner is obviously looking to develop it. Part of that was to create a holding pond for all of that new, that expanded highway. And in doing so, we showed them, we were one of the groups that said, hey, there's a RSC program that could be used, which is a regenerative stormwater system. And this is where Dave is so much better with this, guys. I'm just I just joke, I'm the vice president, I'm the dumb banker. Dave is phenomenal at this. But the pond system, instead of being a retention pond which holds the water, is stagnant, it works, it qualifies, it meets the requirements. These RSCs have a more absorbent production value, and they're a step down system where water flows into these, and the type of material they're filled with absorbs and gets that water more into the groundwater rather than running off down into the overflow into the Pike River. And that system actually happens to take half the space of what the required stormwater retention basin would require. So it's a win for the developer. They get more land that they can sell for development. It's a win for the state, for the highways, in putting that stormwater RSC in rather than a pond. It works more effectively, and it's a win for the community because it increases the biodiversity.
So let's just talk about the big storm in Milwaukee. 14
Yes.
inches, 14 inches rain fell.
Yeah. And here we got 3 inches, 4 inches.
But 3 to 5 years ago, 10 inches of rain fell.
Yes.
This park was underwater. So I want Josh to talk about what they developed on the new highway and why this park isn't flooding anymore. So that retention over there,
that one, and what we've seen up in Mount Pleasant, because that again, the headwaters makes the impact downriver. Same as what is being done here with the remeandering and the stormwater pools is helping down at Carthage further downriver. That RSC that we mentioned is an excellent holdback. Just north of that, the village of Mount Pleasant in Racine County took the north section of the Pike River from the county line road all the way up to Highway 11, and they restored that whole area along the farmlands by widening out the river's channel. Instead of that deep V along the farmland, it's now a good 150 feet wide where the river meanders through it. But if you go there today, what you'll see if you stand at the KR Bridge and look north, it's an amazing view. You'll see this little creek, the Pike River, meandering through kind of a valley, a set down valley that's about 15 feet deep. When that storm hit, that turned into a lake about 15 feet deep. It held that water back instead of it rushing down into this park. And there will be overflow, but the more of that we do up at the headwaters, the more of that that's held back and slowly released, the less stress that's put on areas like this and like Carthage College and the lakefront, where that flow, as that increases that silt runoff, all of that erosion flows right out into the lake.
So now they have So that's exactly what I'm trying to bring, is that this park has been the beneficiary of what they did up north.
Yep.
And we see that request now from Lake County, Illinois, which is where I grew up. Libertyville had a history on the Des Plaines River flooding every spring. Well, the headwaters of the Des Plaines River are in Kenosha County. Oh. They in fact, they go all the way to the Foxconn property in Racine County. And that, I forget the name of that little creek that runs south, just east of 94, behind Woodman's off Highway 50.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I didn't know that was called Pike Creek?
No,
There's a little creek there.
It's something ditch.
Okay.
But that and the Des Plaines River crosses under 94 and goes out into Bristol area. As they do more restoration on that and hold back, and then Lake County did it at Wadsworth Road in Lake County, Illinois. The same thing as what Mount Pleasant did here, creating those stormwater retention ponds that slow down the flow. Libertyville doesn't have the flooding. Downriver doesn't have the flooding as much as they used to. And so that's what Root Pike Win's looking to do. We're looking to create areas that help environmentally, that increase biodiversity, and create places that we want to live and be.
So another question I have, and I'm sorry to take over the
I love this.
The Horlick Dam has been a big conversation.
Yes.
I figured why you're here, Josh, is that going to be detrimental of this potential removal, or is it still going to be there, or is it on track to be removed?
You know, it's perfect timing that you brought that up, because I was at a meeting for Salmon Unlimited, and we had the head of Racine County, who's managing that project, out to speak on behalf of it. Root Pike Wind partnered with Racine County to explore the options. The DNR named the Horlick Dam as being inefficient to hold back a 100-year flood. In fact, in 2009, I believe it was, the Groundhog's, or not Groundhog's Day, 2009, we had that storm that flooded, and just like you were talking about here, Island Park, Colonial Park, and Washington Park in Racine turned into 3 massive lakes and flooded a couple thousand homes even. That dam no longer has holdback potential. It's filled in with silt. The DNR, the Army Corps of Engineers, are planning to remove that dam at the request of Racine County. We helped with funding for the study at Root Pike Wind, and there's multiple benefits that are going to happen for that in terms of water quality. It's not going to impact so much flood potential because the dam wasn't already holding back flooding, but it will increase the biodiversity upriver on it, and it will allow the below the dam, where it's been nutrient deficient, to gain back some of the silt that it should have that's been caught up behind the dam. That project's happening at the middle to end of 2026, next year.
So it is happening. Okay.
It is happening.
So, for all that we all seen Horlick, what's going to happen? So I removed this big dam. What's the benefit? I know it's degrading, but what's going to happen after removed? What's the...
From the fisherman's standpoint,
Okay.
about 250 miles of additional waterways for salmon and trout migration.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
All right.
There's great fishery up in that waterway right now with northern and other species, but that disconnect from there, opening that up will increase that flow. There's chances of getting other species reintegrated, potentially walleye. We see a few in the Root River, but nothing like there could be if it was opened. The other end of it is the river in that area above the dam. It's so shallow and dark that it cooks that water, and it cooks the oxygen out of it, so it becomes partially a dead zone.
So we're not going to see a river go dry, is what
Oh,
people
no.
think. Okay, see, that's what people think. The Durham Dam's going to go, and the water's flowing out, and there's nothing ever going to
If that were the case, go to Johnson Park Golf Course. That is beyond the level of the impact of the dam removal in terms of flowage, and look at the water that flows through there every day. There's still an ample flow. Up there is a great smallmouth fishery and other smaller species, but that flowage that you see is year round. That when the dam is released, all impact from any holdback in the marshland above the dam will look more like that flowage, and that water will be a little bit deeper into the channel rather than in the flatlands above. That'll keep it cooler, it'll keep the oxygen level stronger in there, so it'll increase the capacity for holding other species.
So with the Horlick Dam being, and it's a topic that we are, okay, so the dam's open, more fish are going 250 miles. Do you see an increase of fish coming up, or what do you guys think? I mean, I know it's long term, but what's going to happen? What do you think is the potential next steps? Like when you remove a dam, what are we looking to have?
Well, what I could share that we're probably going to see is exactly what we saw in Kenosha.
No, I'm okay. Why don't you try
With Kenosha, there were 2 dams in place that were impeding fish passage. Kenosha Country Club had one. In fact, I can show it on the map here. Since we're talking the waterway here. Really, this was a success from what we saw in Kenosha, but
I'm going to zoom in.
I can bring it up for you.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Kenosha, we had 2 dams, one in the Kenosha Country Club and a holdback for their little water intake for spraying the course, and a second here at UW Parkside, Petrifying Springs Park, which is here by UW Parkside.
Oh, wait, no.
Those 2 dams
That's carbs, okay?
impeded
Carbs, okay?
fish. Those 2 dams impeded fish passage. With those removed in the past 8 years, you can now see salmon run all the way to Mount Pleasant, which is again about 10-12 miles up the Pike River North Branch, and on the South Branch. They cross over, break down the South Branch, and go down toward the village of Summers. The same thing will be happening in Racine County. When that dam is out, those fish will be able to travel all of that river
I
trout.
think the there's some of those
So
ones.
Where are you?
So you're involved. We're gonna step a little closer because we got a lot of young girls here that are making a lot
Some of our volunteers, yeah.
more volunteers, but they're here to help out. That's a beautiful thing. So with all this going on,
Yeah.
it's helping the scene. We're helping
Let the polo guys take
this area, this Kenosha area here.
All right, now,
So basically, they're helping a good portion of southeast Wisconsin with this river right now,
Right.
which flows into Lake Michigan, by the way.
Correct. Root Pike Wind's focus is on 5 watersheds that all flow into Lake Michigan.
Right.
The Pike River, the Pike Creek, which people may not realize there's actually 2 down here.
Yeah.
Pike Creek goes into the Kenosha Harbor. It's actually just a culvert right now, and most times you don't even see it. It's underwater. That goes to Washington Park Golf Course, where the Pike River here comes into Petrine Springs Park and is much larger.
Right.
Then we have the Root River, the Wind Point watershed,
Okay, so,
and the
here's-
Oak Creek watershed. Those 5 are the ones that Root Pike Wind specifically was tasked by the DNR, Wisconsin DNR, to work on.
Good.
And we see ourselves doing a lot of work in the Pike River and the Root River because they're the 2 largest watersheds by far.
Nice, very nice. Boy, you guys did
all the best.
really good operation
Thanks
going
for
here.
coming out.
Thank you
And
so
I know
much
the
for
funds have
having
been
us.
down. So there are ways, but you do, you
Yeah.
could take donations. If donations were always offered. Is there a place that anybody could?
Yeah, both the KFCA and Root Pike Wind
Right.
are 501c3. You're 501c3 nonprofit as well. Hey, come on in over here. Get it.
Kenosha
yeah,
Fisheries and Restoration is our 501c organization.
Yeah.
So the email address you can use is ksfca06@gmail.com. And then Root Pike Winds, what
Yeah.
what email?
I would encourage them to go to the website,
Website,
and yeah,
okay.
seek out Dave Giordano.
Yeah.
Dave's our executive director, as he's been mentioned before.
So they're 501c3 status.
Yeah.
But as you can see, we're removing trash, they're restoring, and the scope of work for the South Branch says 68 acres is wetland reconstruction and 80 acres of wet prairie. Okay, so between the two, that's a lot of land, and that takes a lot of money. Josh, before we go here, how much money does it take to do a segment of stream? Like, I just say it's like 100, it's a million. Like how much
Yeah.
per foot does it take? I mean, because right now you've got a $4 million project, and it's how long?
Yeah.
Is that, I don't know.
And that stretch that they're working on that Microsoft is assisting with is maybe 2 miles.
2 miles and it takes $4 million.
And each one's a little different. I mean,
Right.
yeah,
But I'm just kind of let people know it's
Yeah.
not cheap
Right.
to
Correct.
restore these, and that's why 501c organizations, grants, huge grants, writing, capability helps us out too.
and I'll share, it's not just the money.
no.
We would love to have you, if you're interested, if you're in the area and want to get involved. KFCA, Root Pike Wind, we're always looking for additional people to help.
Yes.
Whether it be serving on the board or simply showing up to events like this. 3 hours of impact today, when you see the pile of trash that this group is going to compile here from 3 hours of work, it's incredible.